It's the way that every time I'm filming during the day, I just want to scream welcome to the jungle because the construction noises outside are just horrible. Hello book reading friends, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Mel and today I bring you a 5-star predictions video. All of the books I think I'm gonna give 5 stars to. All of the books that I think soon enough will become favorite books of all time. As you guys know, I am always in the quest to look for the new 5-star book, to look for the new favorite book, and while that has happened as of recently with certain books like Way of Kings and The Last Wish, I still want to find more. As you guys know, I also at the moment I am very interested in kind of exploring within genres and age groups that I haven't necessarily explored in the past, and so I think this video and the books that I have included on this list really attests to the books that I want to read soon enough and the books that I personally think are going to become all-time favorites and will get a 5-star rating. Now for this one, I tried to not include sequels because, as you guys know, I have done that in the past and I don't know if that's the part that jinxed me or what ended up jinxing me, but those books did not end up being 5 stars in the past, and so I am going to keep it strictly to either standalones or first book in series because, again, I don't want to jinx myself and my beautiful journey with series that have really not necessarily been beautiful because you guys know I have commitment issues to series and sometimes it takes me 2 years to finish one. However, I do want to keep it realistic with books that I actually believe are going to be 5 stars. These are all also books that I plan to read between the months of September to November, and now let me take a sip for the dramatics. Because if they're not 5 stars, I might cry. And the first book I'm gonna talk about is, of course, the book that has disappeared behind me, and that is Red Rising by Pierce Brown. I have talked about this book several times here on my channel. I talked about this, I believe, in the series that I wanted to start this year. I also talked about it in my most recent come book shopping with me video, kind of book haul situation, and I genuinely do believe this book is gonna be 5 stars. Also, I really love the fact that it's not that long. I know they get longer. I've seen Dark Age. It's massive, but at least for the first one, I can appreciate the fact that it's not that long. It is a sci-fi dystopian, which is a genre that I grew up reading a lot, I'd say, when I was like 13, 14, which was like the Hunger Games era and like the Divergent era and like the Legend era. Like a lot of those books were coming up in the YA section. I, however, have never read dystopian, I believe, in the adult section, so this one's definitely going to be an interesting one when I do get to it. And we follow our main character, Darrow, who is a red, and he lives in this color-coded society where, depending on what color you're assigned, that is your social caste, and the highest in society are the golds. And soon enough, Darrow stumbles upon this opportunity to infiltrate the golds and enter this competition to not only save his own life, but also potentially save the world from this conspiracy theory moment, I guess, that is happening very low-key within the people with power. I just think it's gonna be an interesting one. I also think it's gonna borderline on like the military. I really don't know what to expect with this one. However, the premise itself really hypes me up. I've also seen a lot of people that I think my tastes align a lot with, at least with certain books, and they absolutely adore the Red Rising series, and I've seen people love the second trilogy equally as much, if not more, than the first part. So I am really intrigued to see how this is all gonna go down, how I'm personally gonna love it. Another sci-fi for the video, and that is Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. I have not read The Martian, so I am not even familiarized with Andy Weir's writing. However, I am really looking forward to reading sci-fis in October. I have come to recently find out that there is such a thing as Sci-Fi September, and I had absolutely no idea. And now a girl is rethinking a lot of things and a lot of decisions. However, I am really pumped. I kind of already have an idea of what, again, my October and November TBRs are gonna look like, a little bit loosely at the moment, and this is definitely going in the October one. I just know it. And this has been one of my most anticipated releases ever since I found out that it was coming out this year, and I know this is a military sci-fi, which I always am really excited about. I love watching those types of movies, so why not also consume that sort of stories in this format, is my question. In this book, we follow an astronaut called Ryland, and what we as a reader know is that he and all of them actually were supposed to go on this life-changing, world-saving mission. He now doesn't remember that. He doesn't even remember his own name. All that he knows is that he has woken up, everybody is dead around him, and now the weight of the world is quite quite literally on his shoulders. And so what I wonder with this one in particular, because the synopsis, it's kind of really vague into what it gives you. I am not quite sure if this is going to be a military sci-fi, if this is going to be a first contact sort of sci-fi, if this is going to be an intergalactic war, interstellar alien moment sci-fi. I really don't know what subgenre this one's particularly going to fall into, but I think it could honestly, based on the synopsis, go either way. I'm just going with the vibes that I am getting on these books. I just look at them and they give me 5-star feels, so I'm just going with that. I'm rolling with it. Again, I haven't read The Martian, so I don't really know kind of how the book goes. I know how the movie goes. I don't know how similar or different it is from the book. I do know it's a lot of people's favorites though. And this one is definitely way longer than that one, but I think it promises a lot. And if The Martian is any indication of how Andy Weir writes sci-fis, I'll trust the man. Another book that I know I'm reading in October, because this is actually my Patreon's book club pick for October. We do, as you can probably tell, choose things very in advance, but that is Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafón. Now, of course, I've owned this book for a little bit there, and it is time for me to read it. And it is time for me to read something that is considered a classic within Hispanic culture, and so I am genuinely ready to read this. My brother, strangely enough, got assigned this book to read in high school. I never did, but I am really excited that I get to read this now because it sounds like everything that I could love, and it's also a series, which at first I thought it was a standalone. It turns out it's not. My brother has read the whole thing. He personally adores them. We have similar tastes, so I think I've got enough things as a combination to kind of lead me to believe that I'll love this too. In this one, we've got a beautiful setting, a beautiful city that I love, which is Barcelona, and it is set in 1945, and we have a country that is healing from its war wounds, and we particularly follow Daniel after the loss of his father, and he finds solace in this book called The Shadow of the Wind. He loves this author's writing, and he wants to set out and find more of his works, except that he comes to find out very, very soon that somebody has been systematically burning and erasing all of Caraxes, the author's works. And now Daniel himself believes that he might own the very last of this author's works, and he sets out on this journey to figure out exactly why these books are being burned, exactly who's doing it, and it leads him into this underground belly of Barcelona and everything that it has to offer. And it seems very dark and thrillery and mystery and very romantic as well because of the city that it's set in. I'm just so excited to read this, and I just know, you know, again, when you look at a book and you just know, I just know this is gonna be 5 stars. I'm really excited about this. I don't think I've ever been as excited for like a Hispanic classic ever. Like, I used to hate reading them in high school, also because our teachers just chose the worst ones to read. But I'm sure if I would have read this in high school, it would have been a different experience. Of course, it couldn't be a me video at the moment if I didn't mention at least a Sanderson book. And of course, I am talking about The Final Empire. It is finally here. I'm gonna start reading this either today or tomorrow, and I am really excited about that. However, I really do think this is gonna be a 5-star. So far, every Sanderson first book in a series that I've read has been a 5-star. I also read the very first line of this book, and for some reason it gave me Strange the Dreamer vibes. Don't ask me why. And the very first line of this book is literally, "Ash fell from the sky." In what context, I am not sure. Is somebody dying? Is something burning? I generally don't know what is happening. It might just be a chimney for all I care. I genuinely do not know. I am really excited about The Final Empire. I do know very loose things about it. I do know the main character's name, who's Vin. I do know there's another character called Kelsier. I also know that the magic system in this one is based on metals. I know there's such a thing as allomancy. I don't know anything else. And honestly, for me, that's the best way to dive into Sanderson's adult work. For this one in particular, I think because Mistborn gets put in a lot of videos about the best magic systems or the best characters or the best adult fantasies or the best epics, I think I know very loose details about it, like scatter details, I'd say. Everything else though, I have no idea what happens in here. I really don't know what to expect, but I hope for an incredible story as I've experienced before with Sanderson. So this one, I do believe is gonna be a 5-star. I don't know for the rest of the series. I don't want to jinx it, but this one, knock on wood, is gonna be a 5-star. Another classic. And the only reason why I'm putting this in here is not only because I love certain songs from the musical. That might be a clue. I love some songs from the musical. I haven't heard the entire thing. I haven't watched the whole thing, but I have heard certain songs that are my favorite. Astonishing in particular by our queen, Sutton Foster. Hello, if you're into theater, you know. Little Women is one that I definitely think is gonna be 5 stars. Again, a book that I know very vague details about. I know we follow the March March sisters, and we follow them throughout their lives in many different aspects, in love, in tragedy, in pain, in laughter, in happiness, in what it means to be a woman in the time that they live in. And that is basically all that I know about this one. And you guys, you know, one of the things that I appreciate the most about classics is the vague synopses. Like, I just love, and I found this quite recently, with some books I like to know the entire synopsis. With other books I just like to know the bare minimum, especially now that I've been diving more and more into like secret videos. I just love not knowing shit when walking into a book. And so I think there's a certain beauty to classics and the way that their synopses, as to not give anything away, and because also a lot of them are kind of like slower stories that contain a lot of commentary, a lot of them are satirical, etc., etc. I think they do a really great job at crafting the excerpts that you do get to see. I also would love to read this and then watch the movie and then fully understand the musical. I think it'll be a nice little ride for me to go on, and also just these Penguin English Library copies. Yes, all of the sci-fis have come out to play today. Okay, all of them, because To Sleep in a Sea of Stars by Christopher Paolini is next. I also think this is going to be 5 stars. This is, I know because I've seen it go around in reviews, this one is a military-based sci-fi, and that is a subgenre that I am just super, yes, give me the 800 pages of war against aliens and otherworldly creatures. Give it to me. I am into that crap. So for this one, I am just beyond excited. And how many times will I say that in this video? Probably plenty. We have our main character, Kira, and she finds this alien relic in one of her many travels to the outer space. And what Kira doesn't know is that as soon as she touches that, she is going to make first contact with aliens. That's all I know. And the fact that it's military, so I'm going to assume, also given the fact that this is long as fuck, that this is going to be a war between humans and aliens. And I am all in for that. And I think what fascinates me the most about these sort of sci-fis that include aliens and first contact is exactly what world, what sort of world building, what sort of discovery the author is going to come up with. How realistic is it? How outlandish is it? And if or if not, is it inspired on theories that already exist out in the, I guess, alien obsessed community? I really don't know what to call it. But the question always is, do aliens exist in the capacity that we believe they do? Like, do they look all deformed and weird? Do they look like us? And that's the part that really intrigues me about kind of these first contact stories, is how will the author address and make up all of this information? And I think that's why this one in particular really fascinates me, because it has plenty of space to really do something incredible. We are nearing the end of these predictions, and I am generally thinking of doing these prediction videos more often. Like, maybe I'll run through all of the books, read them, kind of give you an update on how it went, and then create another list as we go. Because honestly, I do think I'm going to run through all of these books at least by the end of October or November. So that being said, we could make another list by then. I think it'll be really interesting. Let me know down in the comments below how often you'd like to see these videos. But the next book is The Wolf and the Woodsman by Ava Reed. I genuinely think this is going to be a 5 stars. There's just something about the intricacy, about the storyline and everything that it's trying to address, and all of the commentary that is seemingly put on here, that really calls to my attention, that I really do think it's going to be really interesting, and it's going to be hopefully a well-crafted story. I also love the fact that it's obviously fantasy. I've seen some really great quotes out there from this book when people started reading them, and so as to not butcher the synopsis, because I think it's so interesting, I will read it, because it'll definitely do a better job than I ever could before reading this book at kind of evoking what it's about. So this says, in her forest-veiled pagan village, Evika is the only woman without power, treated like an outcast due to her corrupted bloodline. So when soldiers arrive from the Holy Order of Woodsmen to claim a girl for the king's blood sacrifice, Evika is betrayed by her fellow villagers and surrendered. When monsters attack the Woodsmen and their captive en route to the capital, they slaughter everyone but Evike and the cold one-eyed captain. But she soon learns he's no ordinary woodsman. He is Gaspar Barani, the disgraced prince, whose cruelly zealous brother plans to seize the throne and instigate a reign of religious persecution and ethnic cleansing. With no one else to rely on, Evike and the captain form a tenuous pact to stop his brother. The synopsis keeps on going, but I think it's that part right there, the religious persecution and the ethnic cleansing part about it, that is really interesting to me. This also has a lot of notes of Hungarian history and Jewish mythology, so I think it'll be really interesting. I think it's very different, obviously, to every other book that I have read and every other book that I do own. I don't think I've ever read anything quite similar to this, so I really am am excited to dive into this story and see everything that it has to offer. It also has some really great blurbs at the back. It's got stuff by Samantha Shannon, S.A. Chakraborty, Alex E. Hero, Catherine Addison. So it genuinely looks like it's a story that promises if all of these authors were involved in the blurbing of this particular book. And last but not least, I do have The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. Now, it wouldn't be a video of mine if at least one of the books didn't have lyrical writing, and this one does. Erin Morgenstern is really known for her lyrical writing, and this is one that I genuinely think I'm gonna love. Not only does it have that aspect and tone in writing, but it also contains the trope of a book within a book. It is also set in a library setting. I literally saw Hannah from A Clockwork Reader. I have yet to watch that video because I just want to go into this as blind as possible, but I did see that this pulled her out of a slump, and every other person that really loves this book truly like rides hard for this one. So I am generally hoping that this is going to be a 5-star. We follow our main character Zachary, who makes this very giant discovery in his university's library. He finds this book that basically sets him on a quest, and determined to carry out and finish this quest, Zachary only has a few clues to follow, which are obviously a part of the book. We've got the bee, the key, and the sword, and those are the only things that Zachary truly knows as he goes into this journey. And beyond that, I don't really know anything else. That's all I know about The Starless Sea. I think I'm mainly going in again with the vibes, what people have been saying, the writing, the fact that it contains a lot of elements that I think appeal to readers in general. So I can't wait to read this. I constantly want to pick this up and then I never do, because it's just, I think it's one of those books that are a 5-star prediction for me, but I'm too scared to pick up in the fear that it isn't. But I do know that I need to get off my ass and read this at one point. So I think this might be a book for like November, December, when we're nearing like the Christmas season, and I do need several magical stories for then, and I think that will be beautiful for that time of year. And those are all of my 5-star predictions, at least for today. Let me know down in the comments if you guys would like a second part to this video. I know I made one last year and then I went basically an entire year without making a second part, so let me know if you want me to make another one either soonish or right after I'm done with reading all of the books, because that could also be done. I could also make a follow-up where I kind of update you on all of these books and whether I really enjoyed them or not. All of that can be done. Let me know all of that down in the comments. If you have read any of these books, also let me know, how did you enjoy them? What did you think? Please don't hinder my hopes that these will be 5 stars, but just let me know if you've read them or not. And if you in particular have any 5-star predictions, also let me know all of that down in the comments. If you reached the end of the video, is there a key emoji? Let's do a key emoji. Don't forget to subscribe down below if you haven't already for more content over here on the channel, and if you want to support the channel further and want more exclusive content from me, I do have a Patreon. We call ourselves the Citadel, and that is always linked down below alongside all of my social medias. You guys know where to find me, and yeah, I love you guys so much, and I shall see you on the next one. Bye guys.